I gotta get a picture. I gotta get a picture of us, man.
Let's do it.
Let me see if I can get everybody in the Probably not. Boom, 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 boom.
Audio guys, start first.
Yes, sir.
Yo.
Yep.
Yo.
Know what it is.
It's going down. I like that. Send that to me. I'm gonna post that.
Yo.
Check.
We recording on my camera, right? Okay, cool.
What up, fellas?
What's happening, man?
How y'all doing?
What's going on?
Chilling.
Feels good.
I'm glad to have y'all guys here.
No doubt.
Appreciate y'all stepping out on a Friday
I mean,
on your birthday.
I appreciate it, man.
Happy birthday,
Thank you,
Byron.
man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys, man.
We're here at Orange Room Radio in our podcast, A Room. And we're just here for some conversation, man. These are some guys that I really admire in the audio industry. And I think that we all have our own like specific area of audio that we kind of specify in. And like I said, I really appreciate you guys coming in and sharing your feedback and your insight on today's audio industry.
No pun intended on feedback.
None whatsoever.
We're recording everything here, so hopefully we're gonna get some good content recorded, and we'll work out the streaming stuff on another time. But I just wanted to introduce everybody. My name is William Kennedy, and I go by the best AV tech in the city.
Yes, sir.
Originally from Richmond, Virginia. And yeah, I like doing audio.
Who wants to go first? You, me? Oh, me? Yeah. All right. Okay.
Might as well go in order.
Birthday boy.
Well, my story is a little different. My name is Byron Bell, and I moved to Atlanta about 6 to 7 years ago. And Will's one of the first people I met out here, so we've been friends since probably the whole time that I've been here. I was born in Chicago, Illinois, Chi-Town, Chirac, whatever you want to call it.
Chi-Town.
But my parents are immigrants, so my dad was from the Caribbean, and that's kind of how me and Will met. Was on a Caribbean gig a few years. You remember that?
Yeah, the B Reggae Fest in Piedmont Park.
Yeah, man, that was a dope gig. And then my mom is from Africa, from Kenya, so I got roots down there too. I bet you didn't know that either. Huh?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all.
Yeah. So all my secrets are out right now. So yeah, so I got ties in both countries, and when people ask me like where I'm from, am I an American or like what am I?
We all
I
love
don't
it.
know.
Y'all love it.
That's my story. I love audio. I've been doing audio for a long time, but we'll get into all those stories after everybody introduces themselves.
All right, I guess I'm next. My name is Sylvester Williams. Everybody calls me Sly. I met Will. Well, I've literally met everybody in here this year. Well, actually, last year.
In the past year, yeah.
Yeah, so I met Chris this year, today, but Will I met last year with a gig for, I can't remember now, at Park in Atlanta, and then I met Byron at Maple House. He came in and filled in. I'm from Mobile, Alabama. That's where I'm from, born and raised. And I've been doing live sound now for 15 years, I think. So, nice. I've been in Atlanta now for 10 years. This is my second, well, actually, I've been in Atlanta a little more than 10, but this is my second go around living in Atlanta. So,
okay.
And yeah, I've been here. You know, I really like Atlanta. So, but yeah, we can get into all the other stuff later. But that's about it. That's about it for me.
Yep.
Cool.
Boom. I'm Chris. Outside of Atlanta, I'm known as ATL Chris. I think when I'm here, I'm just Chris. It's weird here and here. But yeah, I've been doing audio for many years now. I've known Will since we've been pushing flip charts and tripod screens.
Are you serious?
Wow.
Yes, sir.
I first met Chris on a Wind Down Wednesday gig. He was loading in. And
y'all were just passing by.
I was just passing by, like, what are y'all guys doing? You guys got PSAV shirts on, like, where you going?
When PSAV started doing this, that's crazy. Yeah.
So yeah, it was weird, you know.
That's many years ago.
That was wild. That was a long time.
Yeah. And happy to be here, man. Appreciate you having me on, big dog.
Cool. Well, again, that's everybody. So I just wanted to give the overview of where everybody is from. I guess we kind of went. Some of us went into the start of where we got into the industry, or
We
no?
all just talked about how we know you.
Yeah.
Oh
but-
yeah.
So you probably know some of us from the start. You know what I'm saying? Or close to the start.
Yeah, Byron, you've been. It's been a journey, man.
Man,
I see him all the time online, and we can always just by reaching out,
yeah,
it keeps me motivated, man.
I appreciate that.
It keeps me motivated. I love what you do with your live streams
Yeah.
and the content that you're building for your brand. It's really inspiring, and it definitely keeps us going here. So I guess where that leads me to now is just some back and forth questions, just to kind of get you guys where your heads at. I got them written down, so let me pull out my phone. First question I have is, how'd you get your start? And I think that's I'll go first. I got my start. I think where most people get their start in church. First started in church, and then I was a musician for pretty much all my years in school. I was a drummer. So after college, pretty much needed a job, and audio was kind of one of the first places that I looked. I got my start professionally in the hotel, which is what me and Chris were just kind of talking about, PSAV. Back then it was Swank. So I don't know how many people are out there
Yeah.
familiar with Swank AV, but that's where I got my start. So what about you?
Man, it's a long story. It's a long journey. But when I was a teenager growing up in the Caribbean, we used to do house parties and street parties. If you're familiar with like Caribbean culture, this is where we used to like block off the streets and just build walls and walls of speakers and just have
Massive.
Friday night vibes, type thing. And then, a couple of friends of mine in the neighborhood. I had a friend who's a DJ Quicks. Shout out to you if you ever see this podcast.
What island? What is
Antigua.
this? Okay.
Antigua.
Gotcha,
So he
gotcha.
kind of like started the whole thing. He had his own equipment, had his own records at the time, and all that stuff, amplifiers, amp racks, all that stuff. And we just kind of gravitated towards that and just kind of helped him out every time he had a gig to play, which was mostly house parties at the time. I think we were making a little bit of money at the time, but I just used to do it for fun at the time. And then gravitating out of that and getting into like audio editing and stuff, at that time I was using a program that he introduced me to called Cool Edit Pro, which is now I think called Adobe Audition.
Wow.
So I used to like kind of make my own remixes and stuff back in the day just to kind of mess with it and stuff. Like, I didn't know you could manipulate audio like this. You can cut this part here and put that part over there and do this and that. And that's kind of how I fell in love with it. And then I decided to kind of go to school for it in New York at a school called Institute of Audio Research, which is no longer there, but it was a great place. And then from there, I just kind of went the church route for a little bit, and then moved to Atlanta and went right into that PSAV world of yours. I think by the time I got there, you guys just kind of were on the way out or were already out. And so I got a taste of that too. Plus, I was doing a little bit of the rock and roll circuit here in Atlanta and just went from there, man.
Nice. What about you, Sly?
Man, so my story's a little different. Like Will, I'm a musician as well. But previous to going to school in Minneapolis, to a school called Institute of Production and Recording, I didn't have any audio knowledge whatsoever. It was just something that, just seeing the music videos and seeing the people at the desk, I was like, that's what I want to do. So I started out. I went to school and I started out more so as a studio guy. But my last semester at the school that I was at, I decided it was their first time actually having a live sound class. So I was like, okay, well, I can either take this first level Pro Tools course or do this live sound class. And I was like, I have enough knowledge of Pro Tools. Like, I can really work my way around Pro Tools. So let me go ahead and jump in this live sound class. And so I did that. I really got the bare bones of signal flow when it comes to live sound. Finished school, and then after that, I was in Tallahassee for a little bit. So I was doing sound at church I was going to there. Then I moved to Atlanta, interned at Doppler for 3 weeks. That was 2006. Then after that, nothing. I wasn't in audio. I was just trying to stay in Atlanta. Ended up moving back home in 2008. And then still, there was another church I did live sound for, a church I was at. And then around 2013, at the beginning of the year, I was working at Guitar Center. And this group came in, or two guys from this group came in, and they was looking for somebody to run sound for them. They went to the assistant manager and asked her if she could do it. She's assistant manager, didn't have time, but she was like, well, here's Sly. He's well enough to do it. He can do it. So it's like, all right, cool. So I went on one trip with them just to see how it was. I ended up mixing that show. Then after that show, they was like, all right, well, you want to go ahead and be our sound guy? I think I was getting like, how much was I getting? I want to say I was getting like $500 a show, and every weekend, Friday, Saturday, it was more than like it was Friday, Saturday, and it was either college party on Friday or a wedding on Saturday, or it was college party Thursday, college party Friday, wedding Saturday, and then come back.
Right.
Had made enough money to moved to Atlanta, and then literally that was July of 2013, and then they let me go the beginning of October.
Wow. After you had moved.
After I had moved.
Jeez.
After I had moved.
Yikes.
So from there, I ended up working at a call center, and then one of my friends who I went to school with back home in Mobile College, he hit me up like, yo, Sly, what's going on, man? What you doing? And I was just working on the call center. He was like, hey, man, I want to introduce you to this guy named Corey Webb. He's working at the he was working at the Epicenter. So got his number, and literally, I called him. We chopped it up. He was like, all right, well, cool. So like he kind of knew I knew what I was doing. So literally around May, he hit me up and was like, yo, can you get down here to do this gig? Yeah. So did the gig. And then I ended up starting working there in 2014, and that's how I got my my live sound chops, and it was on a profile. And then after that, I was there for 5 years, and then after that, I jumped into being a full-time freelancer. After that was 2019,
Gotcha.
and I've been freelancing ever since.
Wow. That's crazy, man.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
That's a long
I
long
was-
journey.
That's a
long journey.
long grind.
I was fascinated that you say you got your start really in like Guitar Center. Like,
Right.
Yeah,
I would have never thought that people would have walked in the Guitar Center.
And be like, you look
Hey,
like an engineer.
I need right.
because apparently, like, okay, so two of the guys from the group, the guitar player and the drummer.
That was back when Guitar Center was like a good place to go to. Like now,
True.
Guitar Center is like
Yeah,
Best
man.
Buy. Like no hate on Guitar Center, but back then you could actually go in there and get information. Like
Yeah, so
I can
it
see how
makes
that
sense.
could happen back then.
Yeah,
but
it was one of
today, nah.
not so much. But literally, it was just one of those things where it was like, like everybody. Like I said, I was more so known as a studio guy, and for some odd reason, this particular Guitar Center was like, yeah, that's a DJ, even though up until then, I never DJ'd. I didn't start DJing until now, which is really weird.
It came full circle.
Yeah, it
guess so.
came
You
full.
finally a DJ, right?
Man, that job came full circle. COVID,
That's funny.
real deal. Man, that job came full circle.
I did say I
COVID.
was a DJ. Let me go ahead and start.
right,
Might
right.
as well. Right.
Might as well
Hey,
fulfill
still
the
it is,
prophecy. Might as well. But yeah, it was just one of those things where she was like, "Well,
That's right.
I can't do it, but I know Sly, he can mix." So, and I had enough knowledge where I knew what I was doing. The main thing was, and the main thing always, find a way to learn the desk. Once you learn the desk, if you have a good solid foundation in signal flow, you'll be all right.
Get out.
That's a gym. That's a gym, man. I'm telling
You
you.
will be all right. But the hard part really is knowing the workflow of a desk. Offline editors. Get any and all of them.
Bro.
Get any and all of them and just start making show files. And then when you get in front of a desk, you already have an idea. Or plug thumb drive, bloop.
At least you know where to start. You got you got a good start.
Right. But yeah, and that gig I was on an LS32.
Oof.
Jeez.
Yeah. Just stinking up the place. Had a couple of good shows, but other than that, trying to do monitors and front from that desk.
Early in your career. That's tough.
Early in my career, with a show band where really didn't have no front wedges. It was just side fills, and the side fills were the heavy Mackies.
Oh, the thumps.
Not even the thumps. It was the I want to say it's the Mackie SRMs, like those, but still, it was rough. It was very, very rough for your boy. So, but yeah.
But you made it out. You made it out.
Technically, I did make it how they fired me. They let me go.
Got out one way or another. Yeah, I got out. I don't know if I made it out.
Right. I got kicked out.
Gone. Get him gone.
So yeah,
That's hilarious.
but yeah, man, that was my first professional gig, 2013, where I got paid, and after that, it's been a roller coaster ride ever since.
Nice.
But I love it though. I love every minute of it. Wouldn't change it.
All right, Mr. ATL Chris.
Boom. How do I get started? I feel like ever since I was young, I always wanted to be behind the scenes some kind of way. I didn't know really what any of this was when I was younger. So yeah, I guess the inspiration started like, you know how movies used to have those little behind the scenes videos at the end or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So just seeing that kind of stuff made me interested in being behind, you know what I'm saying, just making stuff happen. And then one day, I just remember being in high school, one of my teachers asked me if I could help out with some sound stuff. I used to DJ in high school. I didn't think I was that great, but maybe it was enough to get me going. But yeah, so from there, I remember one of my teachers asked me if I could help out with some sound stuff in school. And then that was the cheat code to get out of class. So I was definitely on it every time they needed help. I was like, oh, assembly, we got to play, like whatever it was they needed speakers were running, like they would always call me for it.
And your high school had like a full...
Nah, we didn't have no production thing, but my teacher needed help. You know what I'm saying? She was the one that knew how to do it.
But like, did they have mixers? Did they have...
Yeah, they had like a small mixer for assembly. It had to be like a Mackie like 1608 or something like that, or 1604. But yeah, super small. I'm not running a lot of channels, but they like, you know what I'm saying, somebody had to hit play when the song needed to start or whatever. So it was an excuse to get out of class, bro. And then from there, I went to school for film. I went to college to try to study how to be a director, and ran out of money doing that. A family friend of ours worked at PSAV. He told me to check out the website, and of course on the website they show lights, cameras, action. I'm like, oh, I'm in there, baby. Get there, and we taping down cables. You feel me?
Hey, look.
Hey, can you run this flip chart?
Oh, my God.
I need you to take 8 flip charts down this whole row of breakout.
You better have
rooms.
them markers in the correct
In the
color.
red order, you know what I'm saying? Red, green, blue, black. You feel me? You know exactly how to do it.
I was like, yo, y'all really training me on how to place markers
Hey, with the
on the
first
flip?
page flipped. You know what I'm saying? Gotta have that first page flip. Gotta have it first page flip, bro. But yeah, that was a great start. I remember I had a brother that was a singer, so I used to DJ for him doing little local gigs here and there. One of the directors at PSAV saw me doing that, and then asked me to help out with Wednesday Wind Down when PSAV took over that contract. That's how I met you in passing. And yeah, from there, my audio career took off. I met my mentor doing that. And got escaped PSAV and got on the road.
Escaped, that's right. That's the right
Escaped out of there. I know people still working up there, bro. It's like,
Man,
bruh,
shout out to
come on, man.
PSAV.
Shout out to PSAV,
Shout out.
man. All right, whoever y'all are now, Encore, Swank. It's funny you said because you was working for Swank at the time. I was working for PSAV, but I remember when PSAV took
They
over
merged.
Swank.
They merged, yep.
When the merge happened.
And I was like, who are all of these PSAV folks that I don't know none of them? And I was just like, I was upset because PSAV was taking over, and I was like, man,
Taking all the work.
Yeah.
Doing all the
but they
fun stuff.
were the larger company of between Swank and PSAV, so they did implement a lot of some good things and some bad things, but we made it out. we all made it out.
At least we learned how to tape cables and be neat. That
I,
was-
I was so close to getting on the PSAV, but
Good thing you did. Right?
good thing you did.
yeah.
Glad you dodged that bullet.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So the next thing I have is more about getting into the audio. We've established everybody's background. So my next question is, what's your preferred microphone? It doesn't have to be a vocal microphone. It can be any microphone. So yeah, what would you, if you could carry one microphone in your bag? What is that one microphone?
I don't have like a. I prefer a microphone that works.
That part.
It ain't gotta be nothing fancy.
Does it work?
Does it work? Does it pass sound? Is it durable? But
Yeah.
you know, classic SM58, baby.
Yeah,
That's my
yeah.
bag all the
Got
time.
one in my work box
SM58
right now.
SW. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I need to switch on mine because
Oh,
I
okay.
can talk to
Yeah.
front of house and talk to monitors or whatever. Yeah, SM58 SW. Yeah, but
I
after
just
that, microphone
recently,
that works.
I have the SM58 without the SW, and I was thinking about getting another one with the SW on there, but then I was like, maybe this might be a good time to try something different. So I went with one of the SE Electronics joint. I don't remember what model it is. With
The
with
V7?
switch. Yes, I think it is the hard. I think it's the hardwire
It's a
V7
V7 with a switch
with
on
the switch on it, and it's got really good rejection.
I got one of
for
those,
talkback.
too.
I use it
Yeah,
for
yeah,
talkback
yeah.
at monitor.
Yeah, but I got that same one too.
Yeah, it's
I
good.
got two
it's
of
been
them.
good so far. I can't lie.
I've heard that V7 and it sounds pretty good.
And I got 2 capsules too from them, the V7 capsules, and I like them because for stage rejection, it's for the price, it's
For price point.
real good.
What are they shipping at? I never tried to buy one. I've always.
It's like 100 and something. It's like less than.
I'm always in a
$150.
position where they're like throwing those things away like hotcakes. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take one. Shit.
Yeah, I got a buddy who's got a contract or something with him, so I can hook you up with him.
For sure.
Get
for
some,
sure.
yeah. In fact, I think he is selling one
Oh, well,
right now. So
Under
I'll definitely-
$100.
Yeah, it's gotta
I
be.
think so.
Good.
And,
under-
and it's the
I think
capsule? Is
No,
the
this is the wire. The
Oh,
wire.
just
the
wire? Oh, okay,
Wire
yeah,
push your
yeah.
truck.
Yep.
Okay, what about you, Sly? Which one are your go-tos? Other than the SM58, I think that's a consensus.
Yeah, Old faithful baby.
Yeah. I was gonna lie to you. 604s.
Okay, what are you using them on?
Toms.
Yep.
Snare.
Snare sometimes. Okay.
Snare. As of right now, that's about it.
604s now, those are Sennheiser, correct?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you are using those on drums all the time, or you just that's your preference?
All the time. like all the time. If it's not the 604s, it's the 98s, but it's the big 98s by Shores.
Sure.
Like even the the SE drum kits, that's good, and the Bear Dynamics, they're good too.
Yeah.
But push comes to shove, if I'm the first thing I'm asking for Toms is 604s. Because more than likely they're gonna have it, and it's gonna be like, all right, bet. I know out the gate, I know exactly what I'm gonna get with them until unless they say, well, we got this such, and if it's something I feel like trying out, yeah, sure, go ahead and throw them on there. But other than that, just be a little different 604s.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
most definitely the 604s.
You know what mic I just discovered the other day, and I might be super late to the game on this, and we used it on a kick drum, on the kick out, and we used it on the bass amp the other day. I think it's called the Bear Dynamic M88.
Oh yeah, the
Bro.
in the boundary joint. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my God. Yo,
Yeah.
That sounded so good.
Yeah,
It
that
sounds good.
Yeah.
I think that's the only mic that has that type of capsule shape on it, aside from the DPA kick mic.
Yeah.
Which I can't afford right now
Yeah.
unless somebody decides to sponsor us.
I got to plug my people. Lewitt, that's definitely my microphone of choice.
Oh, yeah.
On the road,
Really?
vocal
Lewitt, okay.
vocals.
Good.
It's a Lewitt W9, or it's W950. I want to say it's called. But yeah, talk about rejection on stage. You can walk all the way down the catwalk, everything. Like I've
Yeah.
taken it on all kind of stages. It's what I use for the majority of my clients right now.
Nice.
It's,
Okay.
Yeah,
I might check that out.
W9, Lure W9. The cool thing about it too is it has in the capsule it has a built-in pad on there. So you like if you got a heavy vocal. I run into a lot of situations where it's like just heavy SPL. You got people that's just yelling for no reason into a microphone, and yeah, those things can take all the SPL you can throw at it, and it's not going to break up on you. You have the additional option to pad it if you need to, and then if you get the 950, which would look like a hardwired handheld mic. The capsule comes off. You can put it on a Shure wireless unit.
Oh, nice.
Works for a wireless
Okay.
unit as well.
Oh wow.
Okay.
So yeah, super versatile. It's a great microphone. Shout out to people at Lewitt.
Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Nice. Well, I'm gonna say that my go-to microphone that I carry with me everywhere is a Beta 52
The kick drum joint.
kick drum mic.
Yeah.
I have to
Yeah.
have that.
Yeah.
If I can only have one kick mic, give me that Beta 52 and I'm good. Like
D6. And, Alex,
Yeah, I don't-
Alex-
The
yeah.
D6
We
is
have
good.
The D6 on the second kick on this.
I like
on
the
this show I was
D6.
talking
It's just to me, it doesn't give me the body of the kick like I want. Like when we're running into like a smaller kick drum, it doesn't give me the body that I'm looking for.
Right.
So I typically keep my Beta 52 with me everywhere.
I think that 52, the combination of the 91 and the 52, if you have no
It's the
other
classic
option,
combo.
yeah, is like
It's familiar.
it's like a never fail. It's like a fail
works.
safe almost.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It works.
Yeah,
It
it
works.
works.
It works. It definitely works. But I know the D6 by itself can carry a heavy load. And that Bear Dynamic
Yeah, man. Yeah.
boundary mic with the 92,
That's exactly what we had.
that
yeah,
it
that's exactly what we had. The 91.
Yeah,
and the,
like
and
you'll-
the M88.
you'll be surprised at how much bottom you'll get out of that Bear Dynamic mic. Like you'll get the punch, but unlike the 91, you'll get a little bit more beef. Yo, because the 91A, like you'll get the click all day,
all day.
But once you get the body of it, just also depending on the drum, you either gotta cut some out or you may leave it and just use the kick out to give you that, if
Weight.
you will. Yeah, but yeah.
Copy that.
I don't blame you, man, on that one for real.
So those are the microphones. I'm going to transition into the desk. What is your favorite desk? Now, I know what your favorite brand is. I know who everybody's favorite brand is. I want your favorite desk. That, not saying if you had a practical desk, not if you had an unlimited budget, but if you right now and your client is saying, hey, I need a good quality board, but I ain't trying to spend the bank. What is your absolute, I have to have this. This is my preferred, and I want to know why.
Can I go last on this one? Because
That's tough.
you're asking this
That's
question when I'm
tough.
in a point where I'm like, golly, I love my desk, but this other one is like it's pulling at my heartstrings, and I don't know what to do. So I'm gonna go last.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you mine. Mine has always been the SD10.
Fair.
Fair.
SD10.
Fair.
Without breaking the
Fair.
bank.
And
Fair.
without breaking the bank,
Fair.
give me a SD10. And
Okay, so we talking about that size bank. All right.
Right, that's
Bet,
what I'm
bet, bet. You
that
like breaking the
makes it a
bank, and
little
I'm like,
easier.
well,
my bank is broken off of that. I ain't gonna lie. Like,
right.
I can't buy no shoelaces. Like,
Nah.
straight
No
SDT and
nothing.
SDT only. No rack. No.
No, man, but
No outboard gear.
So okay, if we put it that way, if we're looking at that level, I would probably say the CL5, as long as it's still around, just because I know it so well. I've been on jobs with Sly. He probably doesn't even know this at Monitor World with touring engineers coming in, and they're like, "Hey, can you help me set up a stereo aux on a CL5? I don't know how to do it." and I'm happy that at least they say they don't know how to do it, so I can show them how to do it instead of just sitting there and looking foolish.
I'm not gonna lie.
But-
Wow.
That irks me a little bit, but
Yeah,
A touring engineer actually told you.
yeah, and he was honest. But he was honest. Like
at least he was honest.
He was honest. Like, hey, can you? And he also needed some help to set up his Q edge. And
Okay.
he didn't. He
Well, I
didn't
can
really-
understand
he
it.
didn't
You don't work on a Yamaha
Yeah.
all the
Whatever
time.
you're not
Exactly.
using on a regular, yeah,
It's kind of quirky.
A tour engineer is just somebody that's on tour. That's an engineer, bro. Like,
yeah.
just because you drive the ambulance don't mean
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
how to
yeah.
work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't. Don't mean you know CPR. You should know
That's-
CPR as well, but
Yeah.
that mean
Yeah.
you do.
That's
You
true.
know what I'm
Dog,
saying?
I don't
You
know
might
if
be a
if
driver.
y'all
I
have
don't know.
ever worked with Chris before.
I don't know.
He has the
That is a great
best
analogy.
analogies in the world.
That is a
I just
great
don't know what the
analogy.
qualifications are to drive an
Drive
ambulance. I'm
ambulance.
assuming that in order to drive an ambulance, you just need to know how to drive. You know what I'm saying? The people in the back, they doing all the heart pumping and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, my bad. But
You got a
It's
point.
a great point. It's a great point.
It's a great point.
Right,
Great
like,
point.
just because you're a touring engineer don't mean you build consoles. Don't even mean you know all
Right.
how output
Yeah,
routing works and
yeah.
everything.
You're just
you might come
modifying
from
your
the
show
studio.
file.
Yeah.
Just like
as
how
you
you
go.
go. All right, so prime example, you just gave it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Your assistant manager was like, hey, I'm saying, so I can do it. Don't mean that you got to come in. All right, bro. I need
Yeah.
10. I need 10 intermixes. You would have freaked out if they came in and hit you with all that stuff. But
Good
you saying it's taking you
Good
to
point.
where you gotten so far.
You're right.
So yeah,
You're right.
I always remember kids. I always ask the questions. If you don't know, bro, ask the question. And
Ask the
If
question.
the person
Yeah.
that's there doing the job don't know, now you need to be worried. You know what I'm saying? Like if you
Yeah.
was there, you was like, I don't know. Now I'd have been like, oh, we hot. Bro.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Good point.
Because
Yeah.
Because that was
that's what
that
you
was
do.
the gig that I walked into where I got the call.
Oh,
It was like a Sunday, like, hey,
that day.
Yeah, can you come in
that
and,
that was
But
cool.
imagine if you didn't know what you was doing too.
I had to
You know
build the
what I'm
whole show
saying?
from scratch.
Right.
Like there was
Yeah.
nothing, and I was
Ugh,
like,
yeah, that was
Right now we got an issue. If everybody don't know what they're doing, that's one thing. But
Yeah.
the point of being a touring engineer is that you're familiar with your client. So at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, your client's gonna be wanting to talk to you because they're comfortable talking to you. They don't want to talk to a new person at every show.
Yeah.
Or else they would just cut that out the budget and then talk to a new person every show. You feel me?
Yeah.
Never hate on the person asking questions, bro. I be asking questions all the time.
Yeah.
How does work?
Ugh. Okay.
don't trip. You know what it is.
If
852, baby. All the way. What budget?
friendly.
I'm
It's
gonna lie
budget
to
friendly
you,
for somebody.
I'm gonna lie to you. The 338. Yo, the Disco 338. I okay. The SD10. I was out and I just happened to see an SD10 and I asked the people at the venue, like, can you put the SD10 up front? They was like, sure. And I automatically just went into a happy place. You know what I mean? With like
okay.
the SD10. For some reason, I was like, I just doing everything. I was like, it
feels right,
It
right?
felt like meeting an old friend.
I got a story to tell about a particular SD10 that I worked on where this guy to my right was involved with. My right or your left. I don't know what it is.
But
But
I have been on the 338, and I gotta admit, okay,
It's like
You-
getting a new iPhone.
it is.
The screen clear.
The screen's
Oh,
clear,
that
it's
part.
bigger.
For some reason, it feel faster.
Second to none.
It might not even be faster, but it feel like
yeah,
it. You're like, oh.
when you flip the page and the faders respond right away.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah. The
"Oh."
crazy thing is, once you learn one digit code, you know them all.
Pretty much.
For the most part,
Pretty
you know the
Yeah,
software.
yeah.
You just don't know where the buttons are. The
Yeah.
buttons keep moving right now.
Yeah.
It's really just that next and previous button that's elusive.
And I don't even be using them. I
Yo,
just be like,
that next
Yeah.
button messed me up so bad.
He fired a file that didn't exist. Scene 0, eh? I was like, you want the next scene, the one that ain't got nothing on it? You sure?
oh no.
Here you go.
Listen.
You gotta press it back.
But I'm going to. Now, mind you, like I said, I got my start on the Avid Venue profile. Mm-hmm. Like when apparently that was the thing that people knew. Like,
It was.
yeah, like I know the profile, so put slide. You know the profile, you're gonna be good.
And you get a lot of work.
A lot of work, and I have been on the SXL. However, if I got to choose between SXL, CL5, which can't go wrong on CL5 either, I'm probably gonna go with the SD10. A close second, SXL. Close second.
I'm so happy you said that because, like I said when we started this conversation, I've been a Digico guy through and through, but I've been spending so much time on that SXL, and I'm slowly falling in love.
No, don't do that.
Slowly. Slowly.
I don't think I can spend enough time on that console to follow.
I think they've worked out all the kinks.
Bro,
It's too many, but it's too many screens.
No,
why does
it- why does it
have to look like- why does it have to look like Vegas?
I'm telling you.
I get Vegas mode, but why does the desk
It do
always
look
in
like a
Vegas
Vegas
mode?
slot machine
it's
for real.
as simple as the profile is.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
This one.
This
is
S6L is just as easy.
I know it. I mean,
okay, let
once
me
you
say it
can
from a monitor
reprogram those
engineer's
things.
point of view. Let me say it like that. From a monitor engineer's point of view, the SXL is fire. I ain't gonna lie.
I don't like seeing it on either side of the snake.
I'll-
When I get
like
there
it.
and I see the
I
SXL,
like it.
that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm like, oh, here we go. Give me some time. Matter of fact, y'all go take a break. I'll be here for a little minute. Let me work this out. And then when I have all my questions written down in the end, I'm still gonna be like, hey, bro, how I set up a stereo bus? Shoot, you tell me I can't just hit link? There's no stereo button option.
There's no
I
stereo
gotta,
button
I gotta
option.
select both channels and then
There isn't.
link is stereo.
You got to hold one and hold the other.
Right,
Yeah.
come on now. But for
It's nice. It's got its own workflow.
It
It's
does.
different.
all kind, yeah,
But
they all got their own work.
I like it. One thing I do like about it is that the every aux or every output has a built-in graphic EQ, so you don't have to
Yeah,
assign.
you gotta you
Yeah.
don't lose a graphic
like
EQ.
on a Digico, which I'm not slighting Digico for that, but there's workflows for different people, and I like that. So it's really quick. So as soon as I know that I have auxes to mix and I have wedges, I got my screen right there. I can use my mouse or touch screen and just start EQing stuff out. Boom, 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 and I'm going. I'm flying. I feel like I'm quicker on that desk now than I am on a Digico, and it's probably because I'm not on a Digico all the time anymore.
When I hop over to Avid, I'm definitely on the screen the whole time. Like
That's
get
kind of
the
what I
interface,
do. Yeah,
I'm
that's how
going
I did
straight
the
for
first
the
time.
monitor.
Yeah.
I don't even want to touch screen. Give me the mouse.
I ain't gonna lie
Yeah,
to you.
I be clicking.
That's
I
how
be
I am
clicking
too.
too.
Give me the mouse.
Hey,
Give
can
the mouse,
you, can
click,
you move
click,
the guitar
click.
to the left? No problem. Click, click, click.
Yep.
And we're in and out quickly and fastly.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
Nice. So what's your console of choice?
I'm I'm gonna mix it up a little bit. We're gonna go M32, Behringer Wing. No, I'm just playing.
Wait, no.
Actually,
Yo,
I've
no,
been
but for
interested-
real.
I've been
No, but
interested
for
in
real.
working with
But for
the
real,
wing,
but for
yeah.
real.
But
No,
I
but
get-
A lot of people don't know how to route.
bang for
on that
buck.
stuff.
Yeah, I think bang for buck. I don't mind seeing an M32 when I walk into a corporate event.
Yeah.
I don't mind seeing. I haven't messed with the wings, but I've heard that they're like the M32s on steroids. I'm saying with more I/O capabilities. But yeah, on my rider, it's gonna be Digico 338. Yeah, 338 or better. Usually, I'll probably settle for a 10. But I want as much I/O as I can get when I'm working with Digicos, only because of some weird stuff I do in my routing that I'm just used to having set up a certain way. Once you get into the other desk and you start losing your processing ability, then you have to start sacrificing in different ends. I'm the kind of person where I have my generic file set up already, and I kind of tailor that file to each one of my clients depending on what's going on.
Yeah, I just started doing that too, especially with when you're doing I can speak as a monitor engineer when you have your talkback matrix and stuff all set up, and you don't want to have to do that every time. I just have
rebuild
a base file. All my talkback auxes are set, and my matrix is set, so all I have to just reroute stuff into it, and then just go from there.
Only time I'm really building brand new files is when I'm doing corporate work, only because it's every situation is totally different with the corporate stuff.
Yeah.
But with
Really?
my music,
Is it?
It seems like it. Well, I mean, I never know if I'm having to do like a. I run into a lot of situations where I got to like live stream, or
Yeah.
I might have like a mixed mic that's going to a Zoom record.
Yeah.
I might be bringing in different sources from different Zoom computers. Like, I feel more comfortable in a corporate situation, just starting with a fresh blank stage. But with the music stuff,
You're so crunched for time.
yeah, exactly. You don't usually have all the time to dial.
Corporate world, you got a whole 8 hours.
Yeah, you got a whole day dedicated to just programming sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a whole. To me, is the music stuff is more fast paced, so you don't have a lot of time to be thinking stuff through.
Offline editor.
Offline
Right.
editor.
That's what you said?
Unless you're brave and just feel like doing it every single time. I used to do that a lot. Then, by all means, but like I said, that's another way to get fast too.
I've built if I'm like an in-house tech for a particular venue or whatever, I'll build show files for the headliner just in case. I'll just build one and just have some basic routing going, and then he can take over from there. But for the most part, they usually just come with their own file. But
Yeah, I think as a system tech or as like a, you know what I'm saying, as a tech for an event, that's the best thing you can do is always be prepared for whatever actors come in.
yeah,
Because you just don't know if, you know what I'm saying, number one, if they're going to show up. You know what I'm saying? If the techs don't make it, sometimes the engineers don't make it. And
It's a funny story.
sometimes
It's funny you
sometimes
say
we
that.
don't have the files for that desk, you know, like there's been plenty of times where I've had a system guy save me because he already had something going on and I ran into an SXL. I was like, all right, bet. At least I don't have to start fresh, you know what I'm saying? I'm just going to go off
Yeah.
what you got going, build on top of this and add my own flavor onto it
Yep.
and move forward instead of me having to start all the way over freaking fresh.
I got 2 flash drives in my in-ear case that has show files on there. I'm not playing with that, and I got some on the cloud too. So in case like it
Just in
gets lost,
case,
or something,
right.
I can download.
I have
download
like
that
a
too.
whole small container, nothing but.
Thumb drive.
Thumb drives. Yeah,
And they're labeled for each and every desk that
that's
I can think
nice.
of.
I like
I
that.
just got on top of my backing up my files, like making sure it's always in the cloud too, just in
Yeah.
case.
Yeah, I gotta do more cloud-based saves because I just got them on a hard drive on several.
You never know you're gonna
Thumb
get up off
drives.
that plane, bro. And it's like,
Exactly.
oh man, that bag is still there, ain't it? That's crazy.
Yeah, so
And then when you go-
Man, that's
I
crazy.
have to,
The
I have to
bag's
do that
still
too
there.
on a church gig. Like they was just having issues with a file, and I was like, "Oh, I got one on my email. I'm gonna send it to you right now." Boom.
try
Loaded
loading
it
this
up.
remember you sent me a few files
Mm-hmm.
over online, so I appreciate that. You know? So that leads me to my question as to your preference as to where you would like to be. Do you? I'm quite sure, Byron.
Oh,
You said
Lordy.
you like being in monitor world, but
It wasn't always like that though. It wasn't always like
what do you prefer, front of house or monitors? I personally prefer front of house.
Cause you lazy.
But I-
I'm just playing.
I like front of house, but I
Scared
feel
of a
like
challenge. I'm just
I do feel like there's more of a. I get more out of when I mix monitors. So even though I prefer front of house, I feel more fulfillment when I mix monitors.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like because I do like a lot of the heavy workload that I do throughout the year is usually corporate, and it's boring, if I can use that word. So to
No.
counteract that, I like to put myself in a challenging situation, which is monitors, because it's super fast paced, it's quick. When I'm working with this dude right here, he's just, out front chilling, waiting for me to do a line check. And he's like, oh, I got it. Got that. And I'm down there. I'm like, yo, that cable is bad. That you got to change this, got to change that. He's just up there chilling and waiting. So I like monitors because of that challenge. And then also because you kind of get to build a relationship with the artist and the band. And you get to hear the show in a different way if we're all on ears than what you'd hear out there. And I love that. Like you said, the whole growing up and being intrigued with the whole behind the scenes thing. I
Right.
still feel like a little kid when they're like, all right, chorus coming up, 2, 3, let's go. Drive, and stuff like that. Stuff that the audience has no idea that's happening out there. And then, just being able to, a friend of mine just said on the podcast that mixing monitors is like it's need-based mixing. So you're mixing for other people as opposed to
Right.
yourself, even though you can build your own little mix. And I like that. And then the funny thing with that question is that when I go to front of house sometimes, I'm like, oh, you mean I can pan this guitar over there now and throw some reverb and throw the reverb in stereo
that's
and
my
have that
yelling
go
at you
that
about
way?
it, right?
It's like, and that's like, I'm like 6 songs in. I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
Be creative a little bit. I do agree that I feel like front of house you get a little bit more wiggle room for creativity.
Yeah.
And then monitors, like you said, is really you catering to the needs of whoever is playing that role. So I don't have a preference of where I'd rather be. I just know that when I'm at monitors, sometimes the day just goes by faster because you're
Yeah.
always involved. There's more involvement. Whereas when you're at front of house, once you start getting things dialed in and you're traveling with a console and you're setting up snapshots and scenes per song, the show almost drives itself after a while. And you can get kind of mundane and bored in the process. But yeah, at monitors, it's definitely more interactive from my point of view.
Agree.
especially if you don't have no fun front of house team with you. I'm the kind of person when I do front of house, man. My lighting guy, my video guy, like I don't care what y'all doing, bro. We got to turn up together. You feel me?
Yeah,
Like I need us all to be rocking out up here.
Yeah.
We in the crowd, so the crowd can be with us too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We can turn the crowd up if we want to. But yeah, it's my whole thing about being in front of house. Like, yo, we got to turn up, bro, because you know what I'm saying. Eventually, it's gonna be rinse and repeat, and you're just gonna look up and it's gonna be over. Like I'd rather have fun while we doing this or
Facts.
something, you know.
Facts.
I want to add something there before Slight answers the question. So the reason why I kind of like monitors as well is because, like, in the corporate world, I don't like to be the guy sitting in the chair driving the show anymore. I used to, but now I like being the assistant. I like being the A2. I like setting up the RF, setting up the comms, being backstage, miking people up. And so that kind of feels like you're on stage or like a monitor guy, right? So I kind of like to take myself away from that. And also at monitor roles, I don't have like management coming and telling me, hey, make sure you throw a reverb at this part of the show. And I'm sure you've experienced stuff like that. And make sure the snare sounds a little funny and when to sound like the record, blah, blah, blah. Like nobody bothers me.
It's
when I'm-
less
like that.
subjective
Yeah.
as opposed to front of house.
Exactly.
Front of house.
Every
Yeah,
time.
he ain't never
every
leaving. He ain't never
every
leaving.
single time. Have somebody come to me and be like, "Yeah, can you do this?" Sure. Do a little something, and then that's it. But throw me at front. A lot of people think it's a lot of pressure at front because a majority of the time, if you're doing monitors, once you get the band and they're happy, and the artist and they're happy, then you're rolling. Front of house, on the other hand, is a little so monitors, there's a lot of pressure during sound check. Front of house, it's pressure during the show.
For sure.
Yeah.
In particular, the first hit of the show.
Yep.
If you can have a first good hit, you'll feel it and you're coasting from there. If you gotta make some things happen because you're starting off kind of iffy, then fine, like you make the adjustments and whatnot, and you get it there. However, I like that pressure, and I kind of don't see it as pressure. It's kind of just one of those things where it's like, all right, well, you go ahead, whatever comes at you, you make it work. But most importantly, I remember while I was out, the engineer, it was a lot of stuff happening behind me because there was like a 95 dB limit
Oh yeah.
where I was at. And the engineer came up behind me, what I'm saying? Man, the show's going on. Everybody talking about dB limit because it's low. And if you go up above it enough times, there's going to be a fight. Right. So I'm just mixing, and the guy comes up, he's like, hey, you see the people in the crowd? I was like, yeah. He's like, they having a good time? Yeah. Sound good to them? Yeah.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. And I was like, all right.
Cool.
And I've, this past year at Maple House, I had to, like, at one point, the promoter came up to me and was like, yo, so, like, he was telling me, like, yo, it just doesn't sound right. Just having the third. And I'm like, what I'm saying? And mind you, the show was bumping. It was going well. I had to tell him, like, yo, you see the crowd? Like, yeah. They having a good time? Yeah. They singing along? Yeah. It's cool.
We good.
It's cool. Like, we good. But yeah, front of house is the rock star spot. However, there's a lot riding on that rock star spot.
Yeah.
And I like it. It's for me, like, and I will do monitors, but monitors cause me a lot of stress. Like, a lot of stress. Front of house causes me stress, but not as much as, like, monitors. Like, I get real high strung. Well, not necessarily high strung, but it's for me, like, I put a lot of weight on myself to get it done. And normally I'm fine, but what comes with doing monitors, I don't like. I can better handle the stress of front of house than monitors. But I will do monitors
Gotcha.
begrudgingly.
So that leads me into the type of music or type of genre that you prefer mixing. What type of genre do you enjoy mixing?
I think I've been fortunate enough to not dislike anything I've had to mix. I get okay. No, I got one. So the question, what I like or what I don't like? Which one? Can I say?
I want to know the genre of music that you
Dang.
If it's a
So-
jazz gig, you saying, "Ah, man, that's perfect." Or if it's
Nah, I guess
a country gig, you say,
it's
"No,
not
I don't
really
want to
like
mix country."
the genre. It more so for me, it'd be just the caliber like of players.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Okay,
if
okay.
I gotta go mix
Yeah.
a jam session or like something that's close to a jam. All right, let's put it like this. So you got your
Cover
corporate,
bands.
your corporate bands. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes you got some fire corporate bands,
Yeah.
and then you got your, you know what I'm saying? You got your low tier or you know what I'm saying, not so fire corporate bands. I do not like mixing the not so fire corporate bands.
Me neither.
You got people yelling on the microphone.
I don't either.
It's just a whole bunch of, but also those can almost be like the easier gigs you get. It's just bad when it's like, you know what I'm saying, low quality performance and then high quality demand.
They-
You know what I'm
Oh my
saying? Like,
god.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're
Yeah,
giving
that's
me
it.
that, and you're requesting me give you something like, no, bro. Like, I'm just gonna turn this thing on, and whatever comes out the microphone comes out, bro. You know what I'm saying? Crap in, crap out. I can't. This ain't the studio. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't fix it.
Can't help you.
Ain't no fixing. You know
I
what I'm saying?
recently was working with a venue, and their system is not tuned, and there's a drive rack that processes the whole sound system, and they are only sending a mono feed to that. They're only sending a mono feed to the drive rack that's feeding different zones of
In
the venue.
space. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so what I did was when I first went in there, I was like, look, I'm gonna need to come in here the day, prior to when everybody comes in and sits down so that I can just hear what this system is doing. And of course, you didn't get that opportunity, but once I get in there, they're like, oh, it doesn't sound like how it used to sound. It's like, yeah, because I'm trying to mix it in stereo. I'm used to mixing in stereo. This is a mono system, and I wasn't quite, this is my first time here. You got people in here, and
Yep.
I was like, no, we're not set up right. It's not going to sound right because I need to be coming here at a time where I can tune and diagnose what is going on with this system. And like I said, if it's a crap system, you can't really get quality out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what's one of your favorite genres to mix?
Man, I feel like what Chris said is right. Like I think it's also the tier of talent that makes the job more enjoyable. But if I can be biased, I'd probably say a tie between R&B and reggae, just because those are my two favorite genres. And anytime I get a chance to work in those genres, it's like I'm pretty much living out my childhood dream, if that makes sense. Because like they're playing the music that I love and that I grew up on, and it's like it's right in front of me, and I'm a part of it.
Right.
There's no better feeling than that to me. But I do like some of the jazz fusion stuff, like Brian Culberson and stuff. I didn't mix him, but I was their tech on that day. But man, that show was bananas.
I bet you it sounded amazing.
Oh my God, it sounded real good. He basically likes his side fills to be like a left-right stereo type mix situation. So it was bumping. I don't know. Were you at front of? No, he had his own front of house guy, right?
Yeah.
It was
I was
bumping
that
on
day.
stage, man. Oh my God, it sounded so good. And then the funniest part about his show is that he's a white boy, right? And they're playing like a jazz fusion, and then they played play that funky music, white boy. And he plays horns and keys and stuff, right? So he was mixing between keys and horns on that show. There's a funny part, I don't want to give it away, but there's a funny part of that show where he's playing his horns and his other guys are playing horns too, and they're chasing him around
that's
the stage because he's the white boy and they're trying to catch him so he can play that funky music. It's hilarious.
That's pretty dope.
It's a great show. It's a great show.
R&B and jazz. R&B and jazz. Gotta admit, I did get the opportunity to mix a Mexican group, which that was fun. That was fun, but other than that,
Like a mariachi type?
more or less, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely R&B and jazz.
Yeah, I like
R&B
mix.
jazz for
I'm,
sure.
I'm glad you said that because that's where I was going. I would like mixing Latin or Caribbean music because it's so many different elements with a Latin band, and it's not the traditional. You may have a bass but it's not the traditional drums. You're gonna have timbales,
Right.
Yeah.
you're
Percussion
gonna have
crazy.
congos,
He
and
may
then-
have an accordion player.
and so that also. I'm originally from Virginia, so
Okay, yeah.
the go-go scene was always big.
yeah.
Yeah.
So congas, steel pan, all of those what you would call like auxiliary percussion is what I like. And when it sounds nice and full, like, oh my gosh. Like I work with a lot of Trinidadian like soca bands, and they have these steel pans, and they really like cover the entire spectrum of audio to where you can literally have a melody being played and you can have a bass line being played. And when you're able to mix all of those different tones and sounds, it just sounds so amazing. It sounds so full to me, especially when you add vocals and all of the other things that we're used to, accustomed to having. So I would say Caribbean music is probably one of my favorite to mix.
And you get to party too.
So my next question, let me get my phone back out. We talked about genre monitors. Oh, it goes into your favorite plugin. We're in a world now today where we're getting studio quality effects and dynamics in the live field. So what is some of your go-to plugins that you would use?
Oh, some. Okay.
Or you can give me one. You can give me a few of them. It just doesn't matter. Well, and why would you go to a plugin versus on-board dynamics?
That's a great question. For me, and this kind of goes back to my relationship with the SXL and having to integrate waves and stuff on it. Not saying that you can't do that with anywhere else, but I don't think the SXL has any other onboard plug-in per se.
They do.
That's expansive.
You'll get when you get SXL, Avid has their plugins that you'll get with it, like Smack and their mobile band.
Right.
So,
But it's still plug-in based. You still got to go to the plug-in page to do that.
Yeah.
There's no like processing on the actual channel that you can, as opposed to like
correct.
Digico that has mustard and all these other things. So for me, either plug-in or outboard, my like stuck on a deserted island situation would be the Rupert Neve 5045 primary source enhancer, plug-in or hardware or anything similar to that. I'll take that over any other effects processor anywhere, because if I put that on my vocal, I can get more gain out of it without before feedback, and I think that's important on a show where the vocal stands out, and I think that gives me everything that I need for a show. Everything else is secondary to me. If I can get that vocal to stick out, I use that all the time.
Nice. Sly, which one of your plugins?
And I just started using this one and what you just mentioned, the Waves PSE
That
or
PSE, that
5045, yeah.
yep,
yeah.
or the 5045. I got a chance to use both, and yeah, they get the job done.
They get the job done.
They
Yeah. Facts.
and I know what it is, and I know what it's doing. However, it's just one of those things where it's just like
Why not?
it sits it right there, and you do have a tendency to get a little bit more gain out of the mics. It just works.
Yeah.
It just works. It works. So yeah, either the PSE or the Neve 5045 PSE.
Yeah, I was gonna go in the same direction. I hate to bite the answers, but
That's all good.
yeah,
Yeah.
No, it's
yeah,
great that we all have
yeah,
a
it's just-
consensus.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. I guess outside of that, it'd be like a C6. You know what I'm saying? A little multi-band
Okay.
compressor.
Yeah. That's good.
C6 to
F6. Yeah, F6.
I like that
beautiful.
F6, man. That
F6 has the frequency response on it, so you can actually see what's happening.
Oh man, that F6 is my best friend right now.
But yeah, a PSC, and then really just understanding what a PSC is. Like it's a primary source, expander or enhancer, depending on what the manufacturer is calling it. But at the end of the day, you can also get that on board too if you turn a gate into an expander,
Yeah.
opposed
Okay.
to using it as a
Yeah.
gate.
Yeah.
It's pretty much, you know what I'm saying, just understanding what that is doing and what it's doing for your vocal. Because most people are putting this on their vocals, and it's like you said, it's to make the vocals stand out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm always starting off with like a regular expander on my desk first, and then as the tools become available, then expand out from there. I'm always working on trying to not use plugins because the boards cost $100,000 already. So
Yeah.
why do I need to spend an extra, you know what I'm saying, $100,000 with waves
Facts.
Yeah.
to make it sound good? And I think that the manufacturers want us to not have to depend on the outside gear in order to make their product sound well. So
I think it's
the
I
tools
think
are-
it's starting to stem just because people want it to sound the same as the record, so
Right.
they want to just go
Yeah.
grab those same plugins that they had.
But it's
from
like
the-
you can make it sound same
Like
as the
the record.
record
With
in
the
the
regular-
console.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
regular.
It's just about taking the time to learn exactly what everything the console is doing.
Yeah.
and listen to the music, like
Right,
listen
like
to your artist.
How many compressors do you need on a vocal before
God.
it's proper, right? Like everybody just dropping compressor on top of compressor on top of compressor.
All
On
the
a
I don't
vocal
understand. I
chain.
never understood
Right,
that. If you can't
right.
get it out of one compressor, why are
Right.
you?
Yeah.
But sometimes they're like sometimes it's about the emulation of the outboard gear. Like I've talked to some producers or whatever, and you're trying to emulate running it through an actual piece of hardware. But by the time you get it digitized, it's not the same. It's not the same that you're getting in the studio
Yeah.
where you're like, you know what I'm saying, inserting compressor after compressor just to get like certain tube harmonics or whatever you're trying to get. That's not going to happen in ones and zeros. It's not going to. It's not going to be the same. You can
not
get
gonna translate
you can
the
get
same
something
way.
closer to
Yeah.
that hardware just using the onboard stuff. To me, you can get close to that hardware using onboard processing. Than just wasting memory space. And then imagine if all that shit crashes, and then now what? You know what I'm saying? Like you went through all this
Definitely gotta
stuff,
have a
and then
backup.
your waves crash, and then
Yeah.
you hit your oh shit button to take waves out.
Right.
But now it sounds
To bail-
like
to bail out, yeah.
garbage again. You know what I'm saying? Like, were you prepared for the oh shit moment?
Right.
I just told my mentor he's using the waves processing more on his live setups. But I was telling him, I said, you got to build your show file without the waves,
and with the
save it, and
And
then
then-
add
yeah.
your waves processing and take away what, and
all
then
my
you
files I
can
have,
go back.
that's one thing I love about Digico is the macros. You know what I'm saying? I got my oh shit macro,
Yeah.
and that just takes all my inserts off, and now I'm going straight board. And
Yeah.
a lot of times I'll find myself, especially like when I do festivals and stuff, and the system guy can't get the waves right talking to the consoles. I'm like, oh, I have an option outside of that too. So let's not waste no more time on that. Let's just go straight up. You feel me?
Yeah, I think honestly
We're
the
gonna be just
conversation
as
goes a whole lot deeper than that, and we're talking about like plugins and stuff, and that's usually at the end of the line for me. Like it has
Yeah.
to start at the source. You're not gonna get a good mix out of a badly tuned drum kit.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna happen, right? So it comes from your
Mic
source being
placement.
correct. Your mic
Oh, mic
placement
placement,
is super
yeah.
important. The gain structure is, we talked about it on my podcast the other day. It's like the Bible. If you can learn how to gain structure correctly, and your show file translates across every festival, every show, everything, as long as your gain structure is right, you're in a great place. Now you can play with all the plugins that you want to, and I think that's super important because you find like you were saying, like a lot of people who are producers of the record are coming out there to mix the artist in a live environment, and, they're
And I
trying
get
to
if that's
that
all
sound.
you know, you know what I'm saying? If that's all you know
Yeah.
coming in, it's just another learning curve.
Exactly.
But I think
And that's
one
why I
of
think
the-
it's important for you to have a good tech. If you have a great tech
Right,
on
they can
help
and
you
out.
and they can help you with gain structure if you're not too familiar with it. Just be open to like just saying, hey, look,
Right.
can you help me with this, help me with that, instead of just thinking you can do everything.
You can't be afraid to ask
Yeah.
questions. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to be that guy asking questions. I'd rather you
Right.
ask the question and get it right than you being
Yeah.
high and mighty and it just
Yeah.
sounds like garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got two more topics to ask you guys about, and then we're gonna kind of end it for today. What type of issues have you guys ran into in recording? I know that there are issues that arise with me, and sometimes USB recording versus when I set it up like via Dante or a network. So just kind of give me some experiences that maybe you've had with some type of recording. Do you guys record all your shows? just for archival purposes, or do you have them recorded and you have to turn them over? What any type of issues that you guys ran into recording?
Man, I haven't really ran into a lot of issues recording wise, to be honest, because I never really did record much from the monitor world perspective. But I recently started doing that a year ago, and
Yeah, you
I
should
set it up in a way where like I can record my cue. So if you listen back to my recordings, you listen to me punching through different cues and different mixes, so you can hear what's actually happening. And I use that for my vlogs so that people can kind of have an inside perspective of what's actually happening. And I see a lot of people are starting to do that as well, which is really cool because you really get an inside look at things. Some of the musicians are doing that as well, where they're taking their cue and they're recording. Yeah, they're recording their own mix, which is super dope. I really haven't had many issues, but I have preferences on what I'd rather record over. And like you said, I think Dante for me is the most flexible because you can patch and route that as much as you want to. Second to that, man, I kind of like the AVB situation on the SXL. The only issue I have with that is that for recording, you can record into your Pro Tools while your show is happening, but in order to play it back for virtual soundcheck, you have to go into the system and change it into Pro Tools mode, and you lose all your analog or copper inputs.
No copy audio. Like
Yeah, there's no copy audio like on Digico, so you lose your inputs.
strike.
You lose your
Just
inputs.
saying.
And Pro Tools takes
You know what
over.
I'm saying?
Yeah, so Pro Tools
Nothing
takes
against
over.
Avid, boys. Nothing against that
Honestly,
slot machine.
it's the AVB protocol. I just don't really like the AV, but it does record clean. It does record clean, and it's digital, and it's
PreSonus
one cable.
is still on that AVB.
AVB. Why is Avid on AVB?
I can't stand that.
Yeah, I don't know. So USB is always the go-to, but you know, it could be a bad drive, a formatted thing. So it's always a risk. So I'd rather go multi-track on a laptop any day.
Yeah. I really haven't ran into any issues recording as well. I'm always gonna record a stereo off the desk into a recorder. I do like the UB Matty off of the Digico. It's literally plug and play. I haven't recorded anything off of the Dante. I don't know why, but Dante has always made me nervous.
It's a learning curve.
It is.
Oh no, not so much the learning curve,
the
but
stability of it?
but just the network of it all. Because you know how things can happen, and then you got to reset some stuff.
Right.
It's-
So
it's-
that's what I mean
yeah,
by the
it's-
learning curve. It's like networking. Because
Yeah,
I feel like
it's-
once you start with Dante, you are officially a network.
network guy.
operator.
Yeah.
you're a network guy.
Yeah.
Opposed to an audio guy. Like,
Facts.
Yeah, like you
gotta know how them IP ranges work. Like, man,
Yeah, man, like the higher up you get your Dante cert, you really start to realize I just became an IT tech.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can work at IBM.
For real. But
Patch classes.
yeah, but other than that, and it's funny because I have a Matty Dante interface that I have not used at all.
And you're a digital guy. That should work perfectly on that, isn't it?
I mean, but if I'm on a 338 or
I'm taking UB Matty right out the back.
I'm
true.
taking UB Matty.
But then you're capped at like what's the you can you go UB Matty 96 out still?
Mm-mm.
I think you get stuck at like 32 channels or something like that. You get
Well, no, you
24 channels or something
you
like
can you can get all of the channels. The
It's just
sample rate won't.
The hard drive space is gonna kill
The
you.
sample you can't go super high in the sample
that.
rate.
Can't go 96.
Nah. So and you probably can do 96, but it probably will cut your channel count in half.
Yeah, I think it cuts
Yeah,
you.
it will definitely cut you.
I go 48.
But
you can get all the channels.
But yeah, like I really haven't had any issues recording unless it's something happened, and normally it's user error on my part. So
I think technology has gotten pretty a good spot where things are not failing as crazy as they used to back in the day. Like even when the SXLs first came out, they was crashing all the time on tour. I heard, like it was crazy. But I feel like they've gotten to a point where they're super stable right now. Like I haven't had any issues. I got a story to tell y'all about it, about an SD10 before I forget that I used last summer at a certain venue, which we're not going to name. But so that SD10, And Sly knows about this SD10 too. So I was using it at Monitor World, right? And I got my file loaded up and everything. And there's 2 issues that happen on there. So y'all know the SD10's got the little joystick joint for panning, right?
Turns it off
Bro.
immediately.
Bro, my pan it was glitching. Like my pans were every time I select an input, my pan was
Just
doing like
started
this.
going.
I'm like, what
Gotta
in
turn
the
that thing
world
off
is
immediately.
happening?
And it was only on.
The left
On the
The
left
left
side.
bank.
Yeah. And then there's a fader on that left bank that if you flip pages, it stays
where it
right where it
was.
was. I was like, Lord have mercy. So I called Sly, man, what's happening? Is that Sly comes down like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
exactly.
I hate that.
Oh, that.
You need to go. You
just
gotta
gotta-
leave that one off.
Yeah, you just gotta
Patch around that
recycle the
first.
desk and the pan thing will go away. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened.
That'd be
I was
worse.
like, I wish I knew that earlier. I would have done
Hey.
that.
I had a funny story similar to that, except for you know my boy. Shout out to my boy Austin, bruh. No hate on my boy Austin. He a cool ass dude, man. But I remember one time we was in rehearsals and he was like, people always got this joystick, bro, but they don't never program it to do nothing. And he just reaches up to my desk and started moving the joystick back and forth. I'm like,
God.
bruh.
Oh God.
I was like, man, I usually have this shit cut off, bro, but the one time it's not cut off, you walk in and just straight
Don't
up,
mess with
how come
it.
nobody ever uses joystick? I'm like, bruh. But yeah, man, shout out to my dog Austin, man.
Shout out to Austin, man.
Oh, that's funny.
touching
Cool,
stuff.
cool ass dude. Yeah, stop touching shit, big dog.
Don't never touch a black man console.
That's funny.
All right, so
Hilarious.
we're coming towards the end of this little session with you gentlemen. And the last thing I want to know is we are doing a live stream soon. We're recording now, but we are all audio engineers and we are all live audio engineers. How do you feel about live streaming and being the audio engineer that gets called for live streaming? Is there a difference? What's the difference in live audio versus live streaming from the audio perspective?
I actually don't mind getting called for a live stream event, especially if I'm just focused on the live streaming aspect. It can be a lot of stretching to do if you gotta mix the live room and worry about a broadcast feed as well.
Yep.
Because it doesn't always translate from the room to the recording or to the broadcast.
Correct.
So I'll always really suggest that somebody has like a separate space, a controlled room. Just like you used to see the broadcast trucks. The reason why they in a whole nother truck is so they can be isolated and have their all undivided attention on that broadcast mix. And a live stream is the same thing as a broadcast mix. Sometimes you have to worry about compression or whatever, depending on like what kind of bit rate you're going at.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it should be a controlled recording or controlled mixed position. And I actually prefer being isolated in the truck. When we used to work at Taylor Studio, I'm saying put me in the back room.
Right.
When we mixing the feed at, y'all can go out there and deal with all that loud noise. I'm gonna be in here in this quiet room where we chilling. But yeah, I like the controlled environment. It kind of reminds me of mixing monitors where you're not worried about a lot of outside impact on things happening. It's like all isolated, closed in.
More like a studio almost.
Yeah, more of a studio vibe for sure.
No, I know me. I've actually done some broadcast mixing before with Nick Goins.
Okay.
Out at his spot out in Tucker during COVID, and I really see mixing for live stream or broadcast mixing like mixing in the studio. So that's literally right up my alley. I really don't. Going into those types of situations, I really don't change my thought process. As far as thinking, okay, I'm going to have to do something different. The goal mainly is always to have a nice, clean, solid mix where everything is heard, but the feeling of the performance is still brought across in the mix, and that's what I normally always shoot for, whether if I'm at front or doing a doing a live stream mix. And to be honestly, I'm like, Chris, if I had a choice between front of house or broadcast, throw me the broadcast.
I feel like the more I've been in this industry, the more reclusive I've become. So like the more I can be by myself,
Yeah.
the more I enjoy my gig these days.
Yeah.
So yeah, put me in the back room somewhere.
Yeah, so if I can find a way to get into broadcast mixing, that'd be great too, because I know that's even more of that's a hard gig to get anywhere from what I've gathered. It seems like. So, but yeah, I treat it the same, more or less.
I think that's a hard question to answer because it's so scenario based. Like, for example, in houses of worship, where a budget is a constraint for production, and they might have one board or two boards, right? One's doing monitors, one's doing front of house, and the stream.
Right.
You find yourself, or even let's say the worst case scenario is this: it's one board. You got to do front of house, you got to do monitors or wedges or ears or whatever they have, and you got to do the stream, which you're
from
sending a
like
2
this.
mix out
Right.
to the video guy, and he's pushing that to stream.
That actually used to be my life at my church.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Like, for real.
very common in the church,
Yeah.
and it's difficult. Like I would say, in that scenario, me personally, the house mix for me is like my lowest priority. Because once I have a good mix that's happening in the house, we're good, and then I'm constantly referencing the mix that's going to the stream first, because I could probably not hear the snare in the room as well as it's coming out. It's blasting on the stream, or maybe I feel like there's too much reverb on something in the room, and it's actually the room that's giving a lot more of that reverb, and it's super dry
Right.
going into the stream. So just constantly referencing the stream is super important, and then you can make adjustments to your house mix from there. So it's tricky. It's a tricky question. What about you, Sir Will?
I'm a fan of, it's gonna sound crazy. I'm a fan of if the mixer sound, if you can get a good mix in your headphones to translate to the house, you should be able to get that same mix to translate to the live stream. That's just my personal prep. Like, if you can focus on getting that that mix together, you can shell it out to
Wherever
different
you go.
sources.
Yeah, I mean, so you can also, I mean, if you're in that scenario, you can always record your board mix, which is your front of house mix, and then reference that to the stream when you go home and kind of compare notes and kind of see where you can make adjustments if that's your regular gig, and you can kind of make adjustments. Maybe you're sending your stream out to a matrix, so it's only a 2-bus that's going to stream, or you can swap that out and just send it on an aux pre-fader, and then you can make adjustments from there, so that there's a little bit more. You have more control over the balance.
Yeah.
So there's several ways of doing that to get it. But I kind of agree with you. If you can get a good mix in the house, outside of everything else, especially if you set up. I've seen some people who set up like mics right at front of house, so like audience mics, you want to call them, but they're at front of house, so
Yeah, it's like ambient mics.
they absorb the room as well, and you can push that into the mix, so you can kind of have almost the same sound going to stream as you have there, so it's not just a direct sound. So that's a pretty cool idea too.
All right, man. I think I'm good. I have no other questions written down, so we're gonna sit here and close it out. I guess we're gonna close it out by saying what you're looking forward to in 2025. We don't necessarily have to say a gig or anything, but what do you want to hope for in as far as audio? Get either better at or in 2025.
I know you said not to talk about gigs, but I'm a little biased. I feel like I'm at a place in my career where I was at a place in my career where I was like, man, just give me 2 speakers on a stick and some talking heads, and I'll be fine for the rest of my career. But I lied to myself, man. I lied to myself, because music is still in me, and I'm hoping to get a lot more. To get back into music a lot more than what I'm doing corporate. I kind of want to push corporate to the side at this point in my career. almost forever. Or like I can just kind of pick and choose and be like, yeah, I'm good. I don't want to do that anymore. The other thing I'm looking forward to for those of us who are in the United States is not even 2025, but 2026 when the FIFA World Cup comes to North America. I think I don't think we know how busy we're all going to be.
Right, it's going to be
Right.
crazy.
Yeah.
Considering the fact that some of us go out on tours already, some of our friends are on tours, they're gone. Those of us who will be behind, we're going to be busy like crazy. Not just because the games are here, but there are going to be so many other
events around
side
the world.
events and corporate events and all kinds of concerts that are going to happen. It's going to be bananas. So I'm really looking forward to that for sure.
What am I looking forward to? Honestly, just traveling more and getting more opportunities to mix front and get on various other consoles so that I can really be like, all right, out of all the consoles that I've been on, these are my go-tos, you know. Other than that, yeah, like I said, just looking forward to working more, traveling more, and getting my reps in.
There you go. There you go.
Getting the reps in. That's it.
Sir Chris.
Yeah, just looking forward to staying busy. Looking forward to playing with these new PSMs that sure just came out with.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So, you know what I'm saying? Wideband, all kind of crazy getting this going on with those new PSMs. You know what I'm saying? So, thought the 1000s were good.
1000s was
These
still
are about to
solid.
be crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking forward to new gear, you know what I'm saying? New gigs, new opportunities. Hanging out with Will more, you know what I'm saying? He big boss now.
Yeah.
So hopefully he can give me a gig or two.
I know.
You
Shout out to
dig?
Will,
Shout
man.
out to
Will be
Will,
out there
you know what I'm
doing
saying?
it. Every
Yeah,
time he
man.
like
Big Hill
posting,
State Trail.
he be in Atlanta. Tomorrow you see he's like in Baltimore or something. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I'm
this dude is
definitely got an
Yeah.
out of town
Wow.
gig
Yeah,
tomorrow.
man.
But yeah, man. For me, getting more organized. Being that I am stepping back from the console more these days, staying on top of everything is my biggest goal. Just being organized. As far as audio is concerned, of course, always learning the newest technology that's out. Being that we're in the live streaming industry, just trying to grasp what the latest trends are, so that we can stay ahead of it. I don't like to mimic what anybody else is doing, but I do want to kind of create my own space for us to have these conversations, so that we can better the community, so that when we get to a gig, you know, it's more like a standard when we get to a gig, and just getting better myself. So that's kind of my goal.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something real quick. So I like what you said about building the community, right? Because I don't know if you guys know this, but I do a training in Africa every year for young engineers to kind of, I take like professionals in our industry and we go down and we have a training session and all that stuff. And then I was talking to a friend of mine the other day and he's like, why don't you do something like this in Atlanta? And I was like, why would I need to do something like this in Atlanta? Like, we're all professionals. And then it actually hit me that
So we're not.
there's a whole lot of people who are coming up that
Yeah.
need
it,
stuff
yeah.
like this, especially in our community. And I got to shout out Will for starting this podcast and focusing on that as well, because like I didn't have the foresight to think like that. And I'm glad that we're friends. Then we can actually tag team and collaborate down the road and figure some things out where we can actually do this in person and stuff like that. Because the producer community's got their thing going on. The studio engineer community's got theirs going on. Where's ours? You know what I'm saying? So
Facts.
we appreciate you, man, Will. So kudos to
Thank
you for
you.
doing
I
stuff
appreciate
like
it,
this,
man.
man.
I
For
really
real, for real.
appreciate it. So yeah, we're gonna wrap it up for today. Hopefully, we got everything in the record deck. Like I said, we're
Oh, the lens cap's still on. That's crazy.
Oh Lord, yeah.
right. So
Straight audio.
we're gonna get out of here. We're signing off for now. Again, my name is William Kennedy. I go by the best AV tech in the city. You can follow me on IG and Facebook. I have pages on both. Getting the YouTube started, so you'll most likely see this as one of the clips on YouTube. So it's at the best AV tech in the city. Byron, where can they find you?
Byron Bell Music on all social media platforms. I'm on YouTube, IG, and on Facebook, just my name.
And what's the name of that class that you're teaching?
Oh, it's called Advancing Audio Masterclass. So we're having we're doing a masterclass actually on Monday with Burna Boy's engineer because they have a show.
Oh, fire.
Okay.
They have a show in Kenya tomorrow, Saturday, depending on when you're going to see this. And then the following Monday, he's coming to do a small, intimate masterclass with us. And then later in the year, in October, we're going to go, like 4 or 5 of us are going to go down and teach and train as much as we can down there. So it's fun. It's fun.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
That really sounds amazing.
Y'all can find me at That Guy Audio on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. That Guy Audio. Not that audio guy, because I don't know what it is with people in my name and getting it backwards. That Guy Audio. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. See y'all there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Boom. Okay. ATL_Chris, SKRIS, ATL_KRIS. That's on everything. Yeah. Find me.
That's his producer tag, too. Yes.
ATL Jacob, my little cousin. You know what I'm saying? I remember when he was just Jacob. ATL Jacob. That's crazy.
Nice, nice. Shout out to everybody who's tuned in and watching, man. We appreciate y'all tuned in. But we'll catch y'all on the next time.
Yes,
Peace.
sir.
Peace.
Peace.
It's a wrap.
Let's see what I got.
It's a Rizab. This was great, guys. This was really good. Yeah, man. That whole